Hello everyone, let's wait 1 second to confirm that we are connected and everybody's listening. Yes. Let's wait a little bit more. Okay, here we go. How are you, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us today in this webinar. We are going to talk about or introduce the PERS signer, and together we and Daniel are our COO and the tech architect of the PERS solution. All eyes on you, Daniel. Please, can you, if you want to introduce a little bit more about what you're doing and what we are going to see today?
Yes, hello. I'm still of the generation that I'm like, it's exciting that I'm on TV now.
Live.
Live on live TV. Yes, cool. Very much looking forward to this webinar. I think what we're going to talk about is one of the coolest features. No, we have a lot of cool features, but this is definitely a very cool feature of ours, in particular because it's forming part of that PERS suite, and it's not necessarily only linked to our PERS core, but more on that later. Very exciting. Thank you. Looking forward to it, and let's go.
Yes, just to remind you, our webinars talk in 3 areas. We talk with partners, how we are working together with other companies and tech solutions, but also consultancy, strategy agencies. Then we also introduce cases and clients, how they are using per solution. And the third vertical is the product. Today is a product highlight, and as Danny said, designer is more than a cool feature. It's a game changer in our technology, and we will see how and why. So we see, not only on the industry, in the customer experience, the authentication is often the biggest barrier to user adoption. How the user engage, how the user open, how that the counterpart or the other side, in this case businesses, not only one but the ecosystem, can also interact and confirm what they are doing. So this barrel is what the main focus of PERS as a signer, when designer, that remove that friction with a passwordless biometric onboarding and secure blockchain powered transaction signing, all in this lightweight multi-tenant architecture designing the experience for the experience industry. So Danny, I will leave you the word here, but I just want to make a concept. As always, I like to define what we are talking about. So the PERS signer, you will understood easier as the identity to wallet solution to frictionless onboard users and assure a secure signing process. In this way, we are making the actions, the transactions, the logins, every interaction, instant interaction, secure and effortless for one side, for the side of the user, but also secure and trustable for the side of the ecosystem and or businesses. Unlocking this higher retention and very smoother user experience across the all touch points. So, Danny, can you go for please our tech perspective on the PERS signer?
Yes, sure. Well, the thing is, let's maybe put this a little bit into context. We are building those entire, or we have built this entire infrastructure for campaigns and reward logic, which in the end ends up being on a blockchain. And one of the most interesting aspects of that entire blockchain technology is this famous decentralization. And decentralization in that sense means the user has, in principle, entire control of what they own, what information they reveal, and how they interact with the others within the network. No, I mean, there are some other some other major characteristics, but let's focus on this part today. The thing is, this is a very powerful solution and a very powerful technology. However, what we've seen very much when it comes to consumer B2C solutions, this decentralization, and you have your password and you the owner of your wallet, creates by definition a lot of friction. I mean, we all know those famous use cases of the early Bitcoin owners who just lost their password and their passkey, and they could never reach their funds again. So this is one thing. Then in particular in consumer industry, this creates friction. If we talk about crypto, financial, whatsoever, I think they already have a lot of solution in place and they're happy with that. However, in our industry, and it's about experience-based industries, about end users, the friction is a big thing. That's why we wanted to build a solution that can onboard those users without losing the beauty of non-custodial wallet logic.
Yes, and Dania, it's super. I will just highlight a part that you just mentioned that's super important. How the complexity of the password everywhere, divided in between many places, and then lost in that password, was like a fierce approach of the blockchain wallet, or and a wallet in a blockchain. And nowadays, the whole technology have evolved to a point that is so much rich for keeping the beauty of the blockchain technology, but make it super easier and frictionless and ready to use certification for transactions.
Yes. So in that sense, we first of all, with PERS, we tackled this onboarding logic of a mass consumer market. We tackled it in several steps. One of the steps that we will not go deeper into is that we are basically creating the wallet before the user interacts in any way of that. That means to receive rewards, tokens, points, whatsoever, the user does not need to sign anything. That already takes away a lot of the friction, because basically you can already have an account, or you can already have a balance, a positive balance. You can earn whatever you want to. You can participate, engage with all those campaigns, how we call it, as a user, but you don't need to do any frictionful or you don't need to jump over any burden of a wallet onboarding. However, with that being said, then comes the other way around. And the other way around is, okay, there might be the moment, because this is what it's all about, where I want to redeem, spend my funds, my rewards, my discount, whatever is in the game. So, and in this moment, we have two solutions. One solution is the dirty one, which is basically a custodial wallet. So we do everything in behalf of the user. This, first of all, will easily bring you some compliance and regulatory issues, because you should not control funds or assets, digital assets, in behalf of users. That's why the any solution in that sense needs to be a non-custodial solution, which ensures that the user is the one that actually confirms any sort of transaction.
Yes, so I will, let me change to this. Yeah, here we
Exactly.
go.
We just wanted to highlight this a little bit in how we see like the classical redemption process. We have a triangle, right? PERS in that sense is the blockchain, the internet, and you do have a business partner who is the one that wants to receive the funds. And we do have the user that needs to sign any transaction, which basically means confirm that they want to spend something. We've done quite a lot of research, and we went to the point where we see from our experience is it's super important that both partners at that very same moment receive immediate feedback about the current state of that transaction. So we wanted to build a solution that does not rely on any events coming from the blockchain. No, we want them to have a real transaction. However, we still want to ensure that everybody controls or has full control of what is happening with their wallet. So the flow in our system works very much like this. A user decides to spend points or whatever with a business. That's why it generates the transaction request to our service, which means, hey, cool, I want to transfer those tokens to business A. Then the service, like our PERS web server, generates that transaction for the user, but of course it's not signed. Then comes the signing part by the user, which will then make the transaction a valid transaction, handles it over to the business, and the business is the one that submits it. So in that sense, everybody's participating in that flow, but it's the end user who has the control of what is happening with their funds, what is happening with their balance. Let's split this very abstract logic into something a little bit more detailed. Let's have a look at the flow and how we build that. Here are the participating players, or the participating stakeholders in such a signing process. So we do have on one hand the several user devices. This is the user that is logged into their account. We are multi-tenant. It's not about us. It's about our B2B clients users. So the user data comes from our B2B client server. So which means the device is already fed with user data from our client. Then the user sends a sign request to our signer. This is the moment when we, from the signer, verify that this is actually a user that is, first of all, in your system, and that is also that this is also valid for our system. So we do a double check verification, which are the numbers 3 and 4 in that sense. Then we do have the solution how to reference to that partial key. It's super important that only the user can sign it. However, we build it with an extra reference to a partial key storage solution. Then the signer successfully responds with the requested signature data, and the device actually combines the passkey solution on the device with that signature data, and then submits it to the PERS web server, or as we've seen before, consults the redemption partner. So these are the players that are involved in our system, and we see here that there's a separation of all participating all participating parties. We do have a double verification process with the client server, with our server, and the signer is apart from the signing logic is apart from the user device.
Yes, and Danny, before continue, I like that to highlight the is separate. It can be part of, and you're going to have give details about, but it can be inside and participate inside of the PERS web server, but also can be completely agnostic through the client or the B2B client server ecosystem. So in this case, we can go through the how the solution look like in the different levels.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, the solution. Since we built the solution entirely agnostic, it was we do have several ways of implementing it. There's just remember the interesting part of this. Of course, the solution was built around our entire PERS reward system logic. So we needed to have a solution to frictionless onboard users, but still assuring that we're talking about a secure secure signing process. So of course, the origin of that system comes from our PERS solution. In that sense, we have the most native solution. We build the passkeys on the device. We build it directly within the application. When we talk about a native application, we go with the passkeys. And also in web apps, we can directly put we're not there yet. We can directly put it there into the into the application. Then those front end signing solutions, they communicate with our signer, and then from then onwards, it's the flow that we've seen before. However, with that being said, now you can jump.
Oh, yes.
With that being said, we know that having built-in native solutions, even into a web application, is not the most appropriate. It's definitely the most fancy solution because it's really cool, because the user gets a lot of trust into the system, because you have the native fingerprint or face recognition solution that comes with Android or iOS devices. The user already is very familiar with the process. It's the native interfaces that the user trusts, and it's totally built into the application. This, of course, is the most elegant and coolest solution by far. However, we know that it is not suitable for any use case when we talk about web applications, when we talk about other websites whatsoever. We cannot totally rely on having a built-in solution. Also, integration is always a lot of work. We build it entirely into our SDKs, so it should not be an issue. However, it still works. Therefore, we have the web signer solution, and our web signer solution basically does the same. However, maybe this is not the most appropriate image here.
Yes, the one from the screen, let's imagine that is a website of any brand of B2B and Churigu.
Exactly. However, the thing is, you come from your website, go into our signer website. It works entirely within token, an authentication token, and since we are verifying on our signer, we can pass forward that token without any issues, because we, as we've seen before in our previous slide, we are verifying if that one is correct on the back end. So this is a solution that enables the signing process not only limiting to native applications, but also to basically any sort of source that needs signing, because we are just handling over the token, verify it backend side as seen before, and then the entire flow goes like this. But with that being said, we figured out that abstraction goes even further than that, because since we have built that logic, it is not only limited to a PERS transaction signing. No, it can be literally, first of all, from any identity to any transaction. What do I mean by that? We don't need to restrict it to any users within our infrastructure. No, it can be perfectly any IAM identity. So it can be your enterprise solution where you organize, register whatsoever your users. Since we are verifying that one backend, it can be literally any solution of identity. And then, of course, also the other way around. Since we are verifying that signing process, since we are inhabilitating that signing process, it's not only limited to PERS transactions, but it is perfectly suitable for any sort of blockchain transaction confirmation that you want to. So, from as a summary, from a process that was thought and built totally into our solution, it has become an entirely agnostic solution that can handle basically any sort of identity, and handle any sort of transaction totally apart from what is PERS. That's why when we figured out that our signer is way more than part of our PERS solution, it's a total standalone product that works perfectly with anything else. Of course, right now, we, in particular in the enterprise world, we do have IAM solutions all over the place. It perfectly enables you to set policies, to manage with the system that you're familiar with. What is the policy? What the user is allowed to do? What are the capabilities, and so on and so forth. But this is also very much oriented towards the future, because as we all know, the future goes more and more towards digital identity, because when we can verify our own tokens, when we can verify any other AIM solution, IAM solution, sorry, it's the exact same process with digital identity here. So there's a lot of initiatives already moving forward. There are other European initiatives that might take a little bit longer than what we've seen so far. However, this is totally future-proof, because in the end, they all going to come down to the same standards, interfaces, protocols, and we can perfectly adapt to any of those future coming digital identity solutions. So what we've built is an identity
To wallet.
exactly, to
To
wallets.
wallet everything. Danny, love it. I want to take that keyword as the core of this solution of per signer, the agnostic. From both sides, you already mentioned. I just want to add an extra an extra point. The how the technology is evolving, and how the need for the companies, for the destinations, for the groups are scaling more and more, because the technology is evolving so much, and the omnichannel and the connectivity for technology increase, and you need to move on in that term of when I say you need, I say as a business, you if you're a business, because is already happening. It's not an idea of this future. It's already happening in many areas from the European Union that we are going to check what's going on for the future in a couple of slides. But also, as we mentioned, the initial part was how the authentication need to be frictionless, and how the user experience need to be more and more frictionless but secure. Is how we arrive through these three different layers. Because if of course we have the solution for native, but the web apps are nowadays a big and important tool for companies, for destinations also. How you how the technology, and it's a big question for us all the time, how we can deliver and create a solution that is plural and have that flexibility. So the agnostic came as a result of our clients asking for for things, but also for us, and especially you in the whole architecture of PERS, connecting and seeing forward how the solution can be more flexible and can deliver the same result, but from different type of cases. And it's super beautiful because we are now having more and more clients with different use cases, but with the same need and with the same benefits.
Actually, maybe jump one backwards, please, once
Okay.
again. You know, I came here to criticize around slides. No, but I think what we don't really see here, and it's basically what you just said, and just to make an extra point on that again, is while the native solution is very cool and very straightforward, it's very much linked to that specific application. However, here with the web signer, there would, in a perfect slide, there would be several several devices,
Yeah.
and websites and whatsoever on the left of the web signer, and they're all funneling down into the same system.
Yes.
So you
The
basically
ecosystem of
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 whatever
partners,
is
stakeholders, whatever. Yeah.
your touch point, because you're working with a link here. So basically you can a link you can place a link everywhere, and it redirects and goes there. So I think in that sense it's a very powerful solution, in particular for omni-channel, or sorry, multi-channel. I never this
A
is your market.
multi-tenant.
Is
It's
it no? I never. It's you marketing people. Is it omni-channel or multi-channel? Like what I'm trying to say
yes.
is, if you have several channels with your end customer, all of those channels are funneling down into the same signer. That's why the web signer is an extremely powerful solution.
So it's an omni-channel.
Okay.
Okay, so I like this because it's also that we have something that we have learned, and the signer adapt very easier from one yeah, from one side to the other. You can make it easy, but you can make it safely, and not all the time that both are completely together. Because if you can picture this better than, because it's a learning super important, and yes, designer can move around the spectrum.
Exactly. I think this is the classical burden that we've seen, in particular in the world of Web3. There's always a trade-off between commodity and security, because the most practical, the most user-friendly solution is the one you have it entirely custodial. You do everything in behalf of the user, but then you're basically violating everything about decentralization. You're taking away the control about funds and stuff from the user. So it's a solution that we would not recommend. However, that could, in theory, work as well. And then of course you have on the other side of the spectrum, you have the total perfect safety process. So this is when you have a multi-signature signing process of 7 people in 12 different countries. That's very cool and probably the most appropriate for some use cases. But what we think is in a consumer market, the golden balance lies somewhere in the middle. Then I think what we are quite proud of is that we can, with the solution, adjust very well to the specific use case. So what our solution does is I was going to say we can go in any point here. That's not true, because we cannot go to the custodial. So we cannot do the entire custodial work, but I think that's okay, because we should not, because we already have a very frictionless solution that does respect the user control. And then it's a question of design and requirements of the specific project, how far we want to go. So we can go from a from a from a from a from a situation where we even have a password a recovery solution built in, to an entirely, totally safe solution where nobody ever could theoretically get the keys and the password, which creates other problems. But in theory, we can build the entire spectrum.
That's cool. That's cool. I see how we are part of our job. Well, my job, but as Explorins' job is when we have this first approach when clients or potential clients, we are also giving this little but important recommendation of what does that business do, what does that business, and what you actually want as an outcome for that experience and for the data and everything that you are collecting out of the whole interactions, and what in which level you should put or use the suite, the PERS suite. So this is again a learning from what we are doing and what PERS is capable to do. And then the future. I'm not gonna be. We are not gonna be stand that much or pitch on this area, but it's also super important how, of course, the context modify not only business but also utility of tech solutions. In our case, it was necessary to point this aspect when we talk about designer, because for the next year, the end of next year, the European Union states have a deadline until December 2026 to ensure that the European digital identity wallet is available for the citizen. Of course, there's so many details that haven't been set up in terms of how that framework works, how it's gonna be, what is the layer of information that the public administration are gonna have or need to have inside of this new era of digital wallet. But we see that is coming, and it's something that is not only coming for how as a citizen we manage and we do things in the public system, but also the big question mark is how it's going to be that standardization. And I point this because the result is not like the framework is not yet there from the European Union, but and please Danny jump anytime, like the European Union will need in order to do that to have a standard So make available to another, there's that omnichannel and that interoperability with system, not only the public ecosystem or manage, also the private, how they can participate and be involved, and what is going to be a mandatory or a request, or what is going to be nice to have. So for anyways, in order to put everybody on board, the standardization is a must, a need, and that's where the blockchain infrastructure have a big role to play.
I would bring it a little bit on an even broader approach. I think what we've seen in the last years is it was very much all those logics about user having control about their funds, about their wallets, about their digital assets. There was, I think the argument was always very convincing, like, oh, that's cool, the user can do, oh wow. But from what I would say is over the last years it was a little bit blocked by that friction of, aha, but how do I onboard that user? How do I make my user being having a wallet, basically having a digital account, having an account address? So like, how do I do that? And yes, it was a thing over the last years. But what we're seeing is, I would be a little bit skeptical about the timeline about the European Union, but and I would even be skeptical about that initiative sometimes in general. However, I think the key takeaway is digital identity is coming all around the world. So we are facing a future where everybody will have some sort of digital identity. So the main friction is not there anymore. It's not a question about how do I make my user be digitalized or having that identity. This is future solves it, and this is coming. So now it's a question of how do I translate that into what is a wallet, and this is very much that logic is what we have in mind, what we had in mind when we built it, because our solution is very much thought about the future without necessarily knowing the very exact outcome of that future, because we don't know yet how that one exactly is going to look like. However, the thing is, we build it for this future, and
And again, agnostic is capable to then integrate with any other touch point. So,
let's say most likely able.
yeah, most likely, yes, true, it's true. I am the communication one, so I just
we are
leave it
very
with.
we are very confident that it will be.
It's true. It's true. We are very confident, and our clients also help us to prove that in another scales. But that's another type of webinar to give that cases. Anyways, I completely agree with you. We are not sure about so many things here, or the timing. Of course, it's a screenshot. It's not made by us. It's an article. We're gonna give the link on the after the live finish it. So you can go inside of this Medium article, but you can find a lot of literature on internet. Anyways, I saw very interesting how many countries in the European Union are already on board and being very fast, like the Italians or the Austrian, because they want to, they are moving forward to onboard specifically the public ecosystem, the public infrastructure inside of a digital wallet solution. So it's not. It's gonna. I mean, we always talk about this. It's very excited the future, and it's a lot of what you're gonna see. Anyways, this little caption of the European law, it just only bring us to understand and to try to put down what is the impact of this to the private industry. Okay, so we just want to like a little highlight the six areas that were is going to be interesting, the positive impact that it's going to bring. The first of all is the regulatory compliance, how to reduce complexity and streamline the reporting. One important thing about this is the security and the security and privacy on the information. Then the cross-border operations. We mentioned in another scale from another point of view, how that omnichannel and multi-tenant can participate and be part of or make an ecosystem where the transactions are secure through the signer that is capable to connect with the different devices, Danny explained before. And then the customer onboarding, again, faster, more secure identity verification, faster, frictionless, completely frictionless. And then the data transformation. We are seeing, and it's going super fast. We don't need to talk in detail about that, but we are seeing, and this is another question that we also all the time make to and try to research, because there is so many companies, and Dani and I were talking about that when the team the other day. So many companies that are already implementing a lot of this, and is not visible. The more invisible it is, the better, because that means that the frictionless that we are talking about is increasing. But there's so many solutions and companies that are working already and implementing this on their infrastructure. And the cost, of course, a first invest on the costing for the integration, but we see as a long-term saving also for the private industry. And the legal transaction. Well, the digital signatures become widely accepted, and as we move more for that standardization, it will be even better. The confirmation and the acceptance of this. So Daniel, are you wanna highlight something more before we finish it on this part on the impact area?
I would just say maybe that it's also the incredible amount of economic opportunities that this is opening up, because in this creates a entire new set of secondary market, participatory logics, everything about groups, the entire logic of decision making. So I think it's a very exciting world that we are entering, and looking forward to it.
Okay, guys, we're gonna give you the voice or the space if you have any question regarding what we have told, or you have any thinking on this topic. It will be a pleasure to comment now, or please feel free to write down to us. We're very happy and excited for the future, and especially because we have a solution that's PERS suite and the whole features that allow our redefining this customer experience through tokenization. So if you have any question, please feel free to make it now, or write to us in this email, or to Daniel and I, or LinkedIn. This is the moment of communication, Danny. This is like, we have newsletter. You can see the webinars in the YouTube channel. You can go and contact us so we do a demo. We have all of this. All this moment, but anyways, this is very, very exciting future, and when we close our webinars for this year. Very looking forward for the coming months, and the whole project that we are working on to show you more cases. and to see how the technology can be also made for the new world. If you want to say something else, do you see Daniel? Daniel?
¿Se acabó?
No, we have people. Chiara is checking if somebody have make any question on the chat. Normally we receive the question after, so that's cool too. Yes? No? Okay.
I'm happy about. Thank you very much for my television experience. I should
Thank
have told my mom I'm gonna be on TV now.
Danny, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time for speak about what we are doing, how it works. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.